everyone. I'm Linda Marsanico. Welcome to the A Train to Sedona broadcast. The A Train to Sedona is also the name of a book I wrote, a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. I wrote the book so that I could share my journey and inspire yours. You can purchase a signed copy of the book on my website at lindamarsanico.com on Buy the Book page. You can also get an unsigned copy at retail and bookstores. If you'd like to read the first 7 pages for free, you can go to Amazon.com. I have a free gift for you, a cheat sheet for high vibration living. You know, when it gets stressful and you want to be in the present moment, 7 exercises designed to help you do that. From a regular meditation, a walking meditation, and my favorite breathing exercise. You can download a free copy at lindamarsanico.com. I have 2 disclaimers. One is that this broadcast does not establish a professional relationship. And 2, the opinions expressed on this broadcast do not represent Talk Radio New York City. Today, as my guest, I have Amanda Beth Johnson. Amanda Beth is an intuitive healer, spiritual mentor, and transformational guide who helps visionary leaders expand their impact, joy, and abundance without burnout. She empowers people to break free from limiting patterns, trust their inner wisdom, and step into ease, purpose, and fulfillment. Her journey is one of deep spiritual alignment, overcoming self-doubt, reclaiming personal power, and learning to move with the natural flow of life. Through her coaching, speaking, and energy work, she helps others embrace their true path and create meaningful success from a place of love and compassion. Amanda Beth believes success isn't about forcing or striving. It's about alignment. When we lead from the heart and trust the process, the right opportunities and transformations unfold naturally. Welcome to the broadcast, Amanda. You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
All right. Clicking away. So thank you so much, Linda, for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to share with your gifts and to explore more the spiritual healing work that we both do.
It's wonderful to collaborate. And my first question is, what in your childhood, adolescence, influenced you to bring you to where you are today in your life and your work?
Mm, childhood. So growing up here in the Midwest, my family has been intuitive. We didn't have a word for it. Well, there probably was a word. I wasn't told a word, but it was always acceptable that we just knew things, which, further seeded that whole belief that we're souls having a human experience. We
Mhm.
bring in information with us, and there's things that we just know and that guidance. And when you are able to quiet the mind and listen to it, you know those. You have the imaginary friends and all of those things. And then we go to school. And public school doesn't always um, cater to that. And
Mm.
I fell away from that, going, moving across the country, being a college student, doing all of the things in life you're supposed to do, the education, the house, the car, the dogs, the kids, all of those things. And I really fell away from that, and all of the chatter that comes in was very present there. And so I think that finding in my adult life that I woke up one day and realized that this was not my life I was living. I was listening to what everybody else thought I should be doing and questioning everything that I did do, and things didn't feel right. And then just realizing that no, there's more to this. And so
Mhm.
reconnecting, reconnecting with that intuition and pulling that actively back into my life. and being able to do that. And it's kind of, you go through that spiritual awakening. And for me, it was a reawakening. And my biggest marker of when I realized that I had tucked all of that away because it wasn't handy.
Mm.
I was at a flea market, and I was going through the flea market, and I have the ability to know things from touching other things. The hear, the see, the smell, the taste, just knowing those things. And I look at them as gifts,
Oh,
and
yes.
they're absolutely gifts. And I believe that everyone has those gifts.
Hmm. Hmm.
They just need to tap back in and
Yes.
and connect with those. So here I am at the flea market, and it was at our local fairgrounds with the limestone gravel, getting into your shoes and stuff, and
Yes.
touching. I think most notably it was touching a sewing machine. So I love sewing machines. I was touching the sewing machine, and I realized I could feel all the joy
Ah,
that all of the projects and the things that have been created. And it's like, oh, I miss that. And a lot of times we talk about that as being an empath. And the path of an empath, you also need to learn when to use that, when to allow it, and be able to separate what are my feelings and what are other people's feelings.
very important. Yes.
Very, very important. And pull in that energetic container and learn what you feel like. And as you pull that container in, you're a stronger individual and you make better choices. It's okay to test the air, but you don't have to live everyone else's feelings.
Hmm.
And that's one of the biggest things is as an empath, learning how to use your gifts strategically and when it benefits you and when you need to leave other people's things for them. It's their job. It's not yours. It's not theirs at all.
What a wonderful story, Amanda. What would you say the role of spirituality is in your life?
So spirituality, I think, is that for me, it's that ability to reconnect and making a differentiation between religion and spirituality.
Hmm.
And I think that for most people, it's identifying that there's a greater power in control, that kind of sends down the main message for you to then determine how that works for you. And so again, I talk about quieting the mind and really focusing in and listening. And so for me to be able to listen is very much a spiritual practice and doing what I am sent here to do. And what is my mission? How do I help other people?
Hmm.
And all of my life, all of my careers, I have always been in a helping fashion. I've worked in crisis, I've worked in social work, I've worked in emergency medicine and office medicine. I've done a lot of really, really awesome careers that have been very, very rewarding. And at the end of the day, it was always about helping that other person get what they needed to
Hmm.
feel satisfied in life. And when I did graphic design, people would come in with their literal chicken scratches on paper, and I would be able to talk with them, and I could see what they were seeing when I spoke with them. And it's like, okay, you need to go away because I need to take this information from your mind and my mind, put it into the computer, and spit it back out into something we can both talk about.
What a special gift for a graphic designer to be able to look in the person's mind. My goodness.
It did take talking with them. And there were times that they would drop something off with a gal that worked with me, and she would take really good notes, really diligent notes. It's like, okay, I read everything you're saying, but I can't feel it.
Mm.
And so I would then call them up and just talk to them on the phone, and then I could connect with what they were looking for. And then when I started the float pod and I started doing floating, I used to say, I'll go home and I'll dream about it. And then when I started floating, it's like, I'm going to go float on this because I could get into that state and I could see and I could connect and be more efficient with my time.
You mentioned the pods. Would you say something to our listeners? Because I hadn't heard about it until about 5 years ago. Somebody at my Toastmasters group said, Linda, I just floated in salt. You must try it. Please share this.
Okay, so Um, I first found flotation, sensory deprivation, rest therapy.
Hmm.
Um, there's a whole bunch of names. So just surf anything about flotation and you're going to find a float center. It is worldwide. In a nutshell, I found it to treat fibromyalgia because it was pretty debilitating. And I went in as part of the flotation study for fibromyalgia. It is 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt diluted into 100 gallons of water and heated up to skin temperature. There's a lot of different float units. There's pods, there's tanks, there's all kinds of things.
Yes.
But you are going to lay on top of about 9 or 10 inches of water. And in my training and thinking and my side of it, dark and silence. It allows your body to be gravity free, which allows you to have a lot of pain relief. It also gives your brain that very important reset. It has no input. And people say, I'm claustrophobic, I'm this, I'm that. You know what? When you're in a float unit, you don't know anymore because you're not touching anything. You're literally floating. Your back is not touching, your sides are not touching, you're floating. And so your brain really just does nothing. And so it is a practice. You do learn how to do it. Try it 3 times before you decide. And if you don't come float with me, go float somewhere. Your brain deserves it, you know. So
I
even if
have.
you're not doing chronic pain, just
Hmm.
it feels good. It
Is it
feels good.
used for chronic pain, Amanda?
It is used for chronic pain. There's a lot of amazing studies out there that flotation is replacing narcotic medications. A single float can last you 24 or 48 hours, where a narcotic pill will last you 4 to 6 hours.
Mm.
So it's really great there. But looking at it not necessarily as a spa thing, but as a neurological reset,
Yes.
giving you that reset so that you can look deeper inward and you can. People who have a meditative practice, it takes a few minutes to get there when you're
Mm.
first learning how to meditate. If you have any practice, you do any breath work, you get into a float unit and you are there. It just really knocks down that time it takes for you to get there, and then your float is that much nicer. Ideally, you go to a theta state in a float, and that's where the healing happens. Not everyone's able to do that. A lot of people hop in, they go clear onto delta wave, and they take a nice nap. So, but yeah, it's awesome. If you have not done it yet, Linda, you need to.
It's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I had heard that it affects the amygdala of the brain. Have you come across any research about that?
I'm looking at it being the central processing and just allowing the body to shut down and that being the core of being, then yeah, that would give you that reset, that time where you're not thinking, you're not doing. One of the my friend in Tucson, she promotes the Do Nothing Club. And so members are do nothing club. And it's teaching people and people will tell me all the time, I'm not going to stay in there 60, 90 minutes. No way. I can't be alone by myself like that. And it's like, okay, I'm going to set the timer anyway. And if you get out early, that's great. But if not, we've got a timer. So you know when to get out. They come out, they come to the front desk and they're like, that was not 90 minutes. It's like, yeah, glad we had a timer.
Amazing. Now it is time for us to take a break. And when we come back, I'd like to talk about the fact that your work is rooted in transformation and expansion, where you talk about the pivotal moments that led you to embrace that. So we'll be back to talk about this exciting concept.
Are you a conscious co creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
I had to unmute myself. Took a little bit of time. Welcome back to the A Train to Sedona with my guest, Amanda Beth Johnson. And Amanda, now your work is rooted in transformation and expansion. Can you share the pivotal moments that led you to embrace your path as a prosperity guide?
Oh, there's been so many shifts, each one up-leveling and up-leveling. And so I would say that going through life and finding out that I'm in my late 40s, early 50s, and not feeling that even though I ticked all the boxes, I had the education, the house, the car, the kids, the dogs, I had it all. I felt broken. I felt empty inside. It's going through every day, just kind of, whatever. And we mentioned my float business, and I was working at really growing my float business. I wanted to get back to this is what I wanted to do. This was my passion. I really liked it. I appreciated it. And I stumbled into a theta healer. And as I was growing and we were doing one of those internet business owner connection things, you meet me, I meet you, and talking with her, I was like, sure, she's dubbed as a soul chiropractor, and this could be good. We're both into alternative things. This could be a good thing. And so I met with her. And then I did an energy scan with her, and she was so spot on. And it was scary. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. If I had those things out of my personal way, then I could really grow my business and I could really do the things that I want to do. And I could be the person I want to be. And so I started on this path of going through theta healing, primarily as the mode that we used. There were other healings in there as well. And I realized that that's when I had the flea market connection of, oh, you really are an awesome soul having this human experience and you have so much to give. But I needed to clear out some of those other things. Some of the things, they were beliefs, the limiting beliefs that we get. And we get because as children, we're sponges and we soak up everything and our subconscious stores it away for rainy days. Those were very good and important lessons when they came to us. But now as an older adult, they don't really serve me. They got in my way and they made me question myself and allowed me to live my life for other people. And so going through enough life events and deciding that, no, it's time to live it for me. And so with that theta healing and that background, and my coach said, you've got this. You really need to learn this. You need to help other people. And it's like, well, I am helping people. I'm helping people with floating. I'm helping people with business coaching. I'm doing all these things, but I didn't formally have a title or anything. So I took the theta courses and I took several of them, and theta practitioner certified, and it gave me the direction. And one of my previous careers was human services. And I thought, as I started working with people in the theta process, I thought, oh, I'm turning into Susie social worker. It's like, no. The things that I was doing as a crisis intervention social worker were intuitive things. I just didn't give it the right name.
Ah.
They were things that you would never learn in a textbook, no coach or
Mhm.
supervisor would teach you, but they were the things that people needed to move forward and to make their lives better. And so
Mhm.
now, as an intuitive healer and a wellness coach, I get to do that for a living. I get to help people to quiet their minds, reconnect with who they are,
Mhm.
and begin to live the life they're meant to live.
That's quite a worthy goal and profession, Amanda. For our listeners, would you say something about theta as a healing, the theta sensibility?
Theta is most like and not anything like Reiki.
Hmm.
It Reiki is more well known.
Hmm.
So it's an energetic healing. And in theta is that brain wave that's kind of when you're not awake and you're not asleep in the morning, when you're kind of foggy. Theta is the brain wave that they use for hypnosis.
Mm.
Theta is where a lot of healing happens. The theta wave part of it is that I, as a theta practitioner, drop into that theta wave to co-create with your higher power,
Hmm.
whoever that may be. And that is the work that I do. You don't have to, you don't have to meditate, you don't have to do anything. And so when I meet with clients, we look at where they're at, what they think that their obstacles are, and what it's going to look like afterwards. And then we create goals. I love to use, I do a seer review and the spiritual evolution energetic review process that
Mm.
allows us to go through all of your energy centers. It's kind of based on the chakras
Hmm.
and look and see where your blocks are. And
Hmm.
from identifying those blocks, then we have a blueprint. And then we know more definitively, okay, this is the area that we really, really need to tap into. And a lot of times when we look at those different chakras, different things are mixed together, and a block in one area is related to a block in another and another and another. And when we clear one block, we've cleared all the other blocks. And so that gives us a nice blueprint to work from.
Are you
And then
able?
start in. And the coolest thing about theta healing is you don't have to relive your story. We work from those feelings and where, what the feeling means to you in order to discover that limiting belief and to release it.
And then let them go, and then
Mhm.
you don't have to deal with them again.
Um, no, theta healing, once you have identified the belief and you have
Hmm.
released that belief, no, you're not gonna do that one again. You may do what feels like a deeper level of that.
Hmm.
If something else comes up again, it's because you've cleared the surface stuff. You've peeled that onion, you've gone another spiral
Yes,
around
yes.
as we work through the layers.
Hmm. Now, when you talk about the chakras, do you actually see them?
I
How do
do
you?
see this.
Yeah.
I see them, and when I see the chakras, I see the symbols that I have been given. They're kind
Mhm.
of like it's my own personal dictionary. And
Yes.
so I encourage anyone, when you have chakra work done or someone sees your auras, when I see the color orange, what that orange means to me is probably very different than what it means to you, Linda.
Hmm.
And so if someone is reading your auras and they're reading your chakras and they get these symbolism, for me, it's important that I explain to people, this is what I'm seeing.
Uh-huh.
Does this relate to anything to you? Could
Hmm.
it mean, does it? It doesn't mean, and that's one of the things with intuition. I'm basing it off my experiences and the symbols that are shown to me.
Hmm.
And then we work through to see how that relates to you, if it does relate to you.
Hmm.
But don't ever leave a session with someone who says, "Oh, you've got rainbows in your third chakra," without understanding what rainbows means to the person who said it.
Yes. Yes.
So I just really encourage you get clarification when
Hmm.
you talk to anyone, me or anyone else. Get that clarification and know how you can use that and have a plan. It's not enough just to know it was orange or it was rainbow.
Very interesting. Now, you talk about how growth isn't about pushing harder, but about moving with our natural rhythms. How can someone start recognizing their own cycles of expansion, and what's one powerful shift they can make today to create more joy, ease, and abundance in their life?
We oftentimes are coming from a background where your value as a human being is what you do, what you produce, the money that you make. And this is very much a cultural belief. And that if you're not busy, then you're lazy or you're slacking or you're worthless. And the reality is our lives are in cycles. There's times that we are very busy and very productive. And there's times that we need to rest. We're tired.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to do that. You need to honor your body's natural rhythm. There are times to get out and do, and there's times to rest, rest and digest. Learn what you did and connect with it and appreciate it. When we keep pushing and forcing things, then they're things. If you're able to look at something, and I know you and we've had I personally have had a lot of technological things that has really impacted my world and my ability to communicate efficiently with you. I look at that and I stop, and is this something that's really meant for me? If it is this hard and this arduous, is this something, is it my message that you need to slow down, smell the roses, reevaluate it? Is this something that you really want to be a part of? And if it is, they need to stop fighting the process and create a plan that's going to allow you to work through the process. If you're fighting it every day, it's not fun. And
No.
life is meant to have fun and joy. Not everything is easy. We're going to have days that are not fun. We're going to have sad days. But when you're fighting, it's hard to know how you feel.
Truly. It's how we respond to the challenges. We learn from that. And I find that as I grow, the challenges get more nuanced and more challenging. So it's important to step back and ask. I often ask, what does this say about me? What can I learn from this? And what is Spirit telling me? How shall I move forward? Or, what am I to do here? How shall I respond? So it's very, very adventurous, I might
Yeah.
say.
And I think one of the biggest things is when it's particular people and their actions that are causing a reaction with me, I need to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
People are our mirrors. And if there's something that someone I don't like, it's something about me that I need to change. It doesn't have a hill of beans to do with them. It's about me and where I need to look inward and what I need to be adjusting.
So true, Amanda. That's really so true. Now we're getting ready for a break, and when we come back, I want to ask, as someone who embraces flow and momentum, how do you confidently navigate change and uncertainty, which is certainly the stance. We have so much uncertainty today. I think that our listeners will really want to hear about that. So we'll come back and have this continue, actually, this exciting conversation. But it's time for a break.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hello, everyone. I was in the process of unmuting and it presented a challenge for me. But here I am. Welcome back to the A Train to Sedona with my guest, Amanda Beth Johnson. So, Amanda, talk to us about this embracing of flow and momentum and how you are confidently navigating change and uncertainty, especially in today's United States and world.
So, I look at a lot of it falling back to self-care. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't take care of someone else. We can't do justice to them if we aren't taking care. You can't pour from an empty cup. But then also looking at embracing uncertainty as an opportunity for growth and change. A lot of my work has been on crisis, and when people are in crisis, they're ready to make a change. And as we go through life and we're up leveling, each time that you up level, there's a lot of change, and it's uncomfortable because we've never been there before. So being in alignment with yourself, tuning in, listening, and being aligned with who you are, having that clear path to where you want to go, allows you to step into the flow of it and to embrace each of these challenges as being part of the process and not looking at it as being scary. You know, if you are comfortable in day to day, you're not growing. There's those that are the growing pains. There's more than the growing pains in our legs when we're kiddos. That just, you know, baby aspirins didn't work, aspirin didn't work. It's part of growing. And so embracing some of these challenges as being the growth process. Now, some things, I mean, it doesn't mean that everything that is scary is for your highest and best good, but that is where, when you quiet the chatter, you align with yourself. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How does this look? And each one of those little segments of challenges, does this play out well? Does it look good? And if you're busy rushing and doing and pushing, you're creating resistance. And as you create that resistance, it grows. Whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on, this is not doing what I want it to do, it's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse. And it may not get better if you don't stop resisting it. So being able to just really embrace that and look at where you're at, where you want to go, and feel into that next step. So we do some exercises sometimes, stepping into your future self and seeing what your future self sees for you and where you need to go. And sometimes with that really big uncertainty, there's a lot of life events that we go through. I've been widowed, I've been divorced, I have a college education, I dealt with a learning disability. Not all of those in that order necessarily, but those are all changes. And how I chose to deal with each and every one of those changes shaped what my next step was going to be.
Yes.
And if you're not ready to embrace those challenges and to make the best of them, then you're going to be living the same old life every day. You're not going to be happy to hop out of bed and embrace each day as a gift, as a present. That day is a present.
It is. It is.
And to embrace that and to to recreate that childlike curiosity about each day. This is a beautiful day. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
What can I find? What can I do? How can I embrace the next challenge and make it mine and grow?
You quoted Buddha before. What you focus on grows. Roughly paraphrasing. It's a beautiful quote. It's so simple. It says so much. Would you say something more about alignment? When you talk about alignment, embellish it for us. Create a design so that the listeners can feel it and see it.
So when you are in alignment, when you feel in alignment, it's like when you let's pick a real life event that can be fun. So you have to go, let's say you have to run some errands, and one of those errands is running to the pharmacy. You know, there may be a line there, there may not be a line. But in our mind's eye, we're going to create alignment. We're going to create how magnificent the traffic angels are going to be for us. We're going to get into the flow of traffic. We're not going to miss our exit. We're going to be right there. We're going to have a front row parking space, or at least the next one. So we get a little bit more walking exercise in. And we're going to tell ourselves we're doing something fun. We're going to go to the apothecary and you're going to make some fun with this. And then when you're there, you're going to talk and you're going to be gracious of people. Someone opens the door, you're going to tell them thank you. You're going to look them in the eye and you're going to say thank you. Because you know that you have a beautiful day ahead of you. And when you are in alignment, your energy can flow with you and it can flow with your day.
Yes.
And if you get cut off in traffic angels were a little behind, you bless that person. You know, I don't understand what's going on that you needed that place in traffic. Thanks for not, not creating harm. I can back up. I'll give you some space to do what you need to do. And it's not about me reacting to them. So when you're in alignment, you're listening to your vibrational energy, you're allowing your energy to flow. If you come across some resistance, you're going to identify that resistance and you're going to look at it. And it's like, okay, is this here because this is a dangerous situation I need to not go past? Is this a challenge to see, am I on the right path? Is this really what I want? Am I really willing to put all the work into it to get what I want? Or is this telling me that things are not lined up and I need to go back and I need to reassess what my goals are? So living in that aligned state allows us to step back and not keep pushing into that resistance.
Yes.
Kind of falls into the, we talk about the law of assumption being much like so many of the laws, but the laws of assumption. If I assume this is going to be a difficult day, it's going to be. If I assume that I'm going to encounter grace and joy and happy people along my way, I'm going to find more of those people. What you're looking for grows.
Yes.
What you resist gets bigger. Where you put your energy, that's where you're going to find it. There's different things. I've sat on many boards in my life. My input has been respected and wanted. And on some of those places when your time is not respected and appreciated, then I'm not going to keep fighting and having that seat. I can walk away. I have other places that I can give and do and share. And so reorganizing it, being in alignment, what feels good.
Go toward what lights you up.
That's
Is
right.
something that came from a meditation. And I want to thank you for such a full description for our listeners and for me. It's very, very informative, enlightening. My next question is, I mean, I write about love and compassion. When I see the words love and compassion, I light up. So, love and compassion are often seen as soft qualities in business. How do they create prosperity?
So when you are able to have love and compassion with yourself,
Hmm.
and you share that love and compassion with others, and I think one of the other foundational things here is let's redefine prosperity. If you are just looking at prosperity as being a dollar, to being financial wealth, and when you hang everything on your finances, when your finances determine what your value is, that's really, you're missing the boat. It's about you as an individual and what you're bringing to this, not tying up what we do is with our value. Who do you value? And learning to value yourself.
Hmm.
And when you value yourself, you have compassion for yourself. And then you can share that compassion and that joy with others. And knowing that your riches come from far more than finance. Finance is just kind of, yeah, it's really not, it's not all of it.
Right.
And detaching from that, I think, is where we really, really need to focus where you're at. And so if you're not having joy and compassion in your work, then the people who are coming to you, um, for whatever you do, and we can take this back to, um, every role in society is important,
Yes, it is.
and how you treat others is how they're going to treat you. That's that mirror thing again.
Hmm.
And so when you share the joy and compassion, I mean, Charlie Anderson hands out candy bars. She sees cashiers having a difficult day, and she strikes up that conversation and says, "Hey, can I buy you a candy bar? What's your favorite candy bar?" Not everybody's all okay about having hugs every day. But looking at that, and what can you bring to the table? What can you share? You don't need to contribute to it, and looking at those things that we don't like. If there's, just share that compassion, and it's going to come back to you. And I think that when we get away from the value being totally staked in that whole financial money thing, and we find our value elsewhere, then all of that's going to flow.
It
When
does
you're
flow.
when
Yes.
you're flowing, your abundance is flowing. But look at what your abundance is.
Hmm.
Today, I'm having an abundance of sunshine. You're going to have an abundance of all kinds of things. And when you celebrate those abundances, you raise your vibrational energy. When your vibrational energy is higher, you're going to raise it for the people around you.
Hmm.
And everybody's going to have so much more flow. And when there's that flow, that abundance, that financial prosperity also comes with it. So
Yes.
being in alignment,
Hmm.
getting everything together, being true to yourself, and finding what you need for you, which oftentimes does involve letting go of that past. Things that no longer serve you are just so important.
It's all part of that organic process. And what you were describing before is the ripple effect. I say something nice to a person, that person can feel that energy and goes on to perhaps be kind to someone else. I've been on the subway. I live in New York City where someone smiles at me. It's a burst of sunshine, a burst of love, and it feels warm, a smile rather than a frown. Um, so as we decide, how will I respond? How will I walk on the street with a smile on my face, with an energy of love and compassion in my heart? It's quite simple, yet it takes some work to,
Oh,
for
it
me.
does, because it's so easy. Those lower vibrational energies, that anger, the guilt, the shame, all of that stuff, that's low energy. It takes no
Yes.
energy to behave and act that way.
Hmm.
And when you lift up, and it is so contagious, just smiling.
Yes. Oh,
You don't
yes.
have to engage. It doesn't mean you're having a conversation. It just
Hmm.
means you acknowledge them.
Yes. It's very simple and beautiful. We are getting ready for a break. Yet when we come back, I want to talk about people struggling with trust, whether in themselves, their path, with the universe, and what you can share with them when they feel like that. But for now, we are going to be off to a break. See you soon, everyone.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marsanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the A Train to Sedona. I'm Linda Marsanico with my guest, Amanda Beth Johnson. So, Amanda, as I was mentioning before, many people struggle with trust, whether in themselves, their path, the universe. What advice do you have for those seeking clarity and alignment?
So when we talk about trust, it's trusting yourself and not necessarily trusting yourself to have all of the answers, but trusting yourself to be willing to listen and to learn what those answers really are. And listening inside, because we've already talked about so much of the noise and the chatter that surrounds us all the time. And so making sure that what you're listening for is the truth that you already have within you, and not always doing that external validation.
Mm-hmm.
And the external validation is, is Linda going to like my background? Is she going to like, my lighting, my, everything else? It's like, but I'm here. I'm here to share with what I have, and I'm not looking for the external validation. It's great when people say, hey, you did a good job, or I like the work you do, or those things are nice, but we can't live for those.
Mm-hmm.
We need to live for what we have within and what we are able to bring to the table to share, to be our part.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at that and you look at how that plays in, and learning to trust that you have it, you don't need everyone else's permission and blessing on everything that you do, because that's when you shortchange yourself, and you don't get to be yourself, and you don't get to be your best self, living for your highest and best purpose.
Yes, the answers are within, and the journey is within, and it's quite a task, I must say, and speaking personally, to let go of external validation and the values of the city or the state or the country or the world. It takes some teasing out and the development of self-love, really.
It is.
So my next question for you is, you emphasize the importance of inner wisdom, which we're talking about. How can someone start tuning in and trusting themselves more deeply?
So first, and first, you're going to hear me say it again. I feel like a broken record. Quieting the chatter.
Yeah.
All of the input that's coming in, being able to sit quietly And whether that is through meditation or however you're able to do that. We talked about meditation, we talked about flotation, all kinds of things. Sometimes for me, a lot of times I enjoy doing like an adult coloring book, crochet, picking my stitches very carefully that are they're repetition and I'm not don't have to do a lot of counting. But things that allow me to sit and be, and I encourage people to find what is it that allows you to sit and be. Is there some high frequency music that you can play? Is there going to a place in your home or in your office space or a park? Oh, I love being with nature. Nature is awesome. Running
Yes.
water, that flowing energy just really helps too. Being able to first quiet that so that you can discern what is it that you're listening to. And another interview that I listened to, and you talk about, our guides are here. Our guides are here to help us. They're some of them have a sense of humor, and they may be humorous when we listen to them, and that's okay. They're not that TV God voice booming down at you, and sometimes they're very subtle things.
Yes.
They aren't going to tell you go do this, this, and this. They don't give you a grocery list. They give you hints. They give you suggestions. They give you guidance so that you can find those things. First, you have to be open to finding them, to wanting to find them, to wanting to grow, wanting to embrace this uncomfortable situation and be a better person that you're capable of being, that you're meant to be, so that you can in turn share with others. And that's what I think the bigger point of it is to be the best that you can be so that you are sharing that with others and the people who need you to be with them. As moms, we get caught up in raising our children, and then our children don't need us so much anymore. And I remember feeling like a lost mom. It's like I've put everything into my kiddos, and they're got amazing kiddos. Do not get me wrong there. But now what do I need to do? I raise great kids. They don't need me to take them to lessons and to drive them here and to drive them there. They're making amazing adult decisions. So where do I turn now to take care of me so that I can continue?
Beautifully said, Amanda. You mentioned high frequency music. I haven't heard that before.
So that would be the high frequencies. Some of them, they talk about different angelic stuff. I love to go to YouTube and get free, just punch in high frequency music. And so there's like the 888 music. And so it's music that's played at that frequency. And the 888 is abundance. And there's the 111. And I just played in the background.
I will have to try that.
Yeah, I like it because it just it's uplifting. And music, I think we all have our favorite song and our favorite music, and there's a song comes on and it triggers parts in our brain, it triggers memories. So I choose usually to listen to music that does not have words, is not a song that I know, because my brain's going to start putting in the wrong words. Well, they're the right words for me. The singer has it wrong. But you know what I mean? When you're singing along and there's a word that you thought you heard. All of our music goes back and triggers memories and thoughts and things. And so I like to have the high frequency music is just more of a sound. It plays at those frequencies to trigger those parts of your brain.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few minutes. Would you share with our listeners where they can find you? And I know the salt pods, you're in Iowa. And of course, there are people from Iowa listening to us, right? So they can take in your pod place. Tell us about what you're doing and where people can seek you out.
Okay, so you can locate my pod, since we talked about that, at iowasaltpod.com. And I am in Southeast Iowa. There are several float centers here in Iowa now. When I opened almost 10 years ago, I was only the second commercial float center in Iowa. So there's lots of float centers. Just go float somewhere. If you want to come float with me, that's awesome. I am a best-selling author, so I do have a book out. My book tells my story, and it is Blooming into Life, and it is available through any of your favorite places that you like to purchase a book. I think we share a publisher in the same, Linda. That's how we originally met.
Yes.
So, and then my healing work. I do the energetic scans. I also offer individual sessions. I have a 30-day, 90-day, and then a 6-month program as well. And those can all be found at amandabethhealing.com. And I'm on pretty much, well, I'm on a lot of the social platforms. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn with Amanda Beth Johnson. So.
And all of those links are on the show notes. So anyone can go to Talk Radio New York City, look at the show notes, and be reminded of that. Are there any last words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners, Amanda?
So we talked about different vibrational energies, and we talked about those low ones, the shame and the guilt, and they're around 200 on that vibe. And then there's love and joy that's around 800 on that vibrational chart. And recent studies have shown that authenticity tops all of it.
Ooh.
So I encourage everyone to drop in, feel what you're feeling, respect your feelings. You need to feel them and process them. If you stuff them, they just grow. Feel them, give them the time of day, and then come out and be your most authentic you and present that amazing vibrational energy that you have to share and to be your authentic self.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you for being my guest. It's been such a sublime and serene conversation. I've enjoyed it tremendously.
Thank you for having me, Linda. You make it easy to be a guest here.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. So, listeners, next week at 12 noon on Wednesday, my guest is Barbara With. She's a clairvoyant and an author of many books. Do join us, and if you can't join us live, the recordings are on the website for Talk Radio New York City. Amanda, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. And you too, Linda. And everyone else who's listening today, go make it a great day.
Yes, yes. Create it and see it unfold before you. And see you next week.